Welcome to Devotions from Israel, a 5-minute word of encouragement. Today's devotion comes from 1 Samuel, chapters 13 and 14. One of the most interesting battles that is described in the Bible comes from this passage in 1 Samuel 13 and 14. Now, King Saul has just been anointed and crowned as king, and Jonathan, his son, is one of his soldiers, and they are battling the Philistines. Now, the Philistines had 5 primary cities in the coastal plain area. That would be Gaza, Ashkelon, Ashdod, Ekron, and Gath. But in this situation, they were just north of Jerusalem in what is called the Central Benjamin Plateau. Already Jonathan is battling the Philistines. They're there, by the way, for strategic purposes. They want to control this particular area north of Jerusalem, because it served as a primary place to control movement, if you will, both from the south and north as well as east and west. So Saul and his men were confronted by these Philistines. Now, some of Saul's army, they were hiding in cisterns and crevices, and they were a little intimidated by the might of the Philistine outpost. And in the end, as we talk about what Jonathan did, he indeed displayed bravery in remarkable ways. This is how the story unfolds. So Jonathan attacked the Philistine outpost at Geba, and the Philistines heard about it, and Saul had the trumpet blown throughout the land and said, "Let the Hebrews hear." So all of Israel heard about this news, and Saul had attacked the Philistine outpost, and now Israel has become obnoxious to the Philistines. This is one reason why some of Saul's army hightailed it out of there and even went away from this battlefield. The Philistines assembled to fight Israel with 3,000 chariots, 6,000 charioteers, and soldiers as numerous as the sand on the seashore, and they went up and camped at Michmash, east of Beit Aven. And when the Israelites saw that their situation was critical, there it is. They hid in caves and thickets among the rocks, in pits and in cisterns. Some Israelites even crossed the Jordan River, which means they walked about 18-20 miles to the east, to the other side of the Jordan. So the time was a bit challenging for the Israelites. But listen to what Jonathan would do in chapter 14. One day Jonathan, son of Saul, said to his young armor-bearer, "Come, let us go over to the Philistine outpost on the other side." But he did not tell his father. Saul was staying on the outskirts of Gibeah under the pomegranate tree in Migron. With him were about 600 men, among whom was Ahijah, who was wearing an ephod. On each side of the pass that Jonathan intended to cross to reach the Philistine outpost was a cliff. One was called Bozez, and the other Senech. One cliff stood to the north towards Michmash, and the other to the south towards Gibeah. You can almost picture Jonathan now going on his own to battle these Philistines. And Jonathan said to his armor-bearer, "Come, let us go to the outpost of those uncircumcised men. Perhaps the Lord will act in our behalf. Nothing can hinder the Lord from saving, whether by many or by few." "Do all that you have in mind," his armor-bearer said. Go ahead, I am with you in heart and soul." So Jonathan said, "Come on, then, and we will cross over towards them and let them see us. If they say to us, 'Wait there until we come to you,' we will stay where we are and not go up to them. But if they say, 'Come up to us,' we will climb up, because that will be our sign that the Lord has given them into our hands." So both of them showed themselves to the Philistine outpost. "Look," the Philistines said, "the Hebrews are crawling out of the holes they were hiding in." And the men of the outpost shouted to Jonathan and his sword-bearer, "Come up to us, and we'll teach you a lesson." So Jonathan said to his armor-bearer, "Climb up after me. The Lord has given them into the hand of Israel." So Jonathan climbed up, using his hands and feet, with his armor-bearer right behind him. And the Philistines fell before Jonathan, and his armor-bearer followed and killed behind him. In that first attack, Jonathan and his armor-bearer killed some 20 men in the area of about a half an acre. What lesson can we learn about this military maneuver by Jonathan on his hands and knees crawling on the cliffs of Michmash? Well, perhaps one primary lesson would be that he was a brave soldier and he placed his trust in God. He knew the circumstance, and he certainly was willing, really, to put his life on the line for the sake of the Israelites. When we entrust our situations to God's care, when we trust in his ways, even though we might find the battle a difficult one, God always is behind us. In fact, I always like to pray. He's always ahead of us, behind us, to our either side, protecting us, arming us, and certainly encouraging us with strength that he gives us to face the challenges of life. So 3 cheers for Jonathan in this remarkable story. And may also this story inspire us to be bold in our display of our trust in God and trusting him in every circumstance of life. Until next time, shalom.